Hey guys, it's Leigh with Silver Raven Farms. Today we're going to talk about what animals should new homesteaders get, right? And first and foremost, I'm gonna lead with this, and that is make sure that you put your garden in before you get animals. No matter what kind of animal that is, make sure that you've got garden. Your gardens are going, okay, whether that is, you've got, a couple acre garden, or not a couple acre, that'd be huge. You've got, a 4x8 raised bed, or you've got 14 of them, or you've got 100 of them, whatever it is, make sure that you've got a garden going, right? The caveat to that would be if you've got chickens, or if you're wanting to get chickens, you can get them in winter. And then, because they're going to be on feed anyways to get, big. And then once they're, mostly grown or fully feathered, hopefully your garden's getting ready to start producing. So there is that aspect. So anyways, before that, I always have to lead with that, even though I didn't follow it. I wish I had. And that is why I feel like I can tell you, before you get animals, make sure that you've got a garden in place, because once you start buying feed, it's very hard to stop buying feed, right? Because you're like, oh, I got to go buy feed. Versus if you've always, fed them garden scraps or your kitchen scraps, then it's a little bit easier to be like, oh, well, I'm not gonna give them that. I have garden scraps. I have kitchen scraps. So there's that. That's my little caveat to it. But the first real part of this, the garden is just kind of a add-on. The first real point that I want to make for you guys is define your homestead success, right? Define what is a successful homestead to you? Because if you just do what I did and you just start bringing animals home and you have not truly defined what a successful homestead is, you are going to end up with a bunch of animals that don't, move the needle, if you will, towards success, right? Sorry, I had to keep Fenrir from getting his ass kicked by the cat. He's only a year old, and we've only had him for 3 or 4 of those months. He's a pound pup, and so he has not realized that Ninja, our barn cat who comes inside. So technically, he's not a farm cat. Our farm cat. That's what he is. He's a farm cat. He has not realized that cat is shady and will whoop his ass, and he hasn't figured that out yet, no matter how many bloody noses he ends up walking away with. But making sure to unsquirrel and get back to where we're supposed to be. Define your successful homestead, whatever that looks like. The second part, these dogs are going to be the death of me. They keep trying. Well, Fenrir keeps trying to go after the cat, and Blue is like, well, what you doing? So anyways, after you have defined your successful homestead, make sure you're setting goals for your homestead, right? Where you're sitting there saying, okay, well, I'm going to, a successful homestead is we raise 75% of our food and our animals' food. Then setting up goals to hit those markers so that we, by the end of this whole thing, we do in fact have a successful homestead. And that leads us into what animals to really get. Now, what I'm going to say before we get into this is I practice your homestead, your kitchen, your rules. Okay. I am just a voice in your ear, giving you some guidance, some advice, some pointers, this is what we did and it didn't work. So take this for what you will. At the end of the day, it is your farm, it's your homestead, it's your family, it's your life, it's your money. You do what you got to do. Okay. I will never judge you for it. If you get animals before you get your garden in, welcome to the club. I am here to help whatever you may need. I am not here to judge you. So that being said, let's talk about dogs first, because my dogs are going crazy, and that is the first thing that we're going to talk about. So I have Cody, who's our biggest boy at 130 pounds, and he is a Leonberger. And if you don't know, that is a relatively new breed. It's a mix of 4 different breeds, and it's I'm going to butcher this. I know I am. It's a Bernese Mountain Dog, Great Dane, Great Pyrenees, and I think it's a Mastiff, I believe. Anyways, he's massive. He looks like a Kodiak bear, which is his name. He's a Kodiak. He is the biggest baby, but he is really good with all of our animals. He's a really good protector. We call him Bob, big ol' bitch, because with us, he is super sweet, super loving, wouldn't hurt a fly. All he wants is love and attention. However, my partner, we were butchering chickens one day, and my partner was like, him and his wife came over to help out. And he's like, hey, I'm going to go change real quick. And I was like, you know where the bathroom's at? You know where my bedroom's at? Go. And so he goes to walk in the house. As soon as he opens the door, all we hear is just this, dogs going batshit crazy. And he slams the door. And like where I'm at, I'm gutting chickens. And I look up and I can see him. Like we can see each other and our eyes meet. And he's like, I need you to come inside with me. What the hell's going on? And he goes, Cody is trying to eat me. And I was like, Cody? Like, he's a bitch. Like, he doesn't do anything. And I understand that may be offensive for some people. Understand that, I don't mean it that way. He's really an amazing dog, but it's just so weird because this dog doesn't bark. He doesn't whine. Like, he's not protective, but he is. We found that out. So anyways, and then we have Blue, who's a German Shepherd, Great Pyrenees mix. We have Bear, who's a pound pup, and we have Fenrir, who's a pound pup. And we have no idea what Bear and Fenrir are mixed with because we don't care. I mean, really, we don't care. They're great dogs, and that's really all I care about. So Bear is 10 years old, and he does not care about anything. Okay. Literally, I've had baby chicks on this dog that, one of the chicks jumped up on him and he was just like, whatever. He doesn't care. Blue is extremely high strung because, she's got the German Shepherd in her. And Cody doesn't care either, so we've kind of got a good mix, of personalities. Fenrir is still very much a puppy. We're still training. We're still working with him. But when it comes to animals for your homestead, the likelihood of you coming onto a homestead with no dogs is not likely, right? Everybody, I think it's like every household, like the ratio or something like that is like every household in America has a dog. Now, obviously you have some households some households who don't have dogs, and then you have households like mine that have 4. So it kind of works itself out to be pretty much every household in America has a dog. And so again, if you're moving onto a property, there's a really good likelihood that you already have dogs. And I am of the mindset that every single dog has the potential to be a farm dog. Okay. It may not be a working breed dog. It may not be a livestock guardian dog. They may just be a farm dog. And that's okay. That's okay. Bear is an inner city dog. He came from Killeen, Texas. And if anybody doesn't know, that's Fort Hood, Texas. And it is a very rough area. It's not a great area. He is literally a pound pup. He's probably got some, pit bull in him. He's probably got boxer in him. His butt smells like he's got boxer in him. Like he's great, but that's Bear. And Bear is so old at this point that he doesn't give a damn. Blue is a farm dog. She has a livestock guardian dog in her as well as a working dog in her. So her breeds completely counteract each other. And we had to put more work into her to get her safe around animals. Now, when she was just a couple of months old, she got rammed by one of our goats. And ever since then, she learned very quickly, we don't mess with the goats. They have horns and they hurt. And that's great. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. It worked out the way we wanted it to, because now she doesn't go after the goat. She doesn't go after the goats. She will eat a chicken. But in her defense, chickens are squeaky toys. Okay. There is no way that you are going to get a dog that has herding or working genetics in them, or really any genetics in them. That part really doesn't matter, to realize first shot out the gate that squeaky toy is not a toy. It's just, they don't do it. You have to train them. And so I firmly believe that any dog has the capacity to be a fantastic farm dog with the right training. And that's where, it gets really difficult. Bringing a livestock guardian dog onto your property. First off, I'm here for it. I think a dog with a job to do. Giving a dog a job is probably the hands down the first and easiest way to correct any behavior. Okay. Because it gives them something to focus on instead of, think about when you have anxiety, right? What's the easiest way to pull off of an anxiety attack? Distract yourself with something else. And if you do that with a dog, they are going to be so much happier, even if that job is just to pay attention to you, right? And so that's what we've kind of trained our dogs to do, that your entire job is to focus on me when we're outside. When we're inside, I don't care what you do as long as you don't make a ton of noise. Blue is currently trying to make a ton of noise because she's not happy about something. I don't know what it is. So working dogs are going to be your cattle dogs, your herding dogs. Those are kind of dangerous on a farm. If you don't have the quote proper animal or the proper training. So if you have a blue heeler, because they're all the rage right now, the blue and red heelers, and they are gorgeous dogs. I love those dogs. However, those are working dogs. And if you don't put them to work, they're going to destroy your house. It's that simple. Those are cattle dogs. Okay. Those are dogs that can get kicked by a cow. And they're little dogs. They're not big dogs. These are tiny little dogs. And they can get kicked by a cow and be like, whatever, and go right back into it. That is not the dog that you want to have around chickens per se. Okay. That is a dog that has been bred to do a job. And if you don't give it a job, it's going to find something to do. And it's probably not going to be good for you or your house, probably your livestock. So make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, this is where your, successful homestead and goals for your homestead really do come in. Because if you just bring dogs onto your farm and you don't have the ability to train them, you can end up in a world of hurt, or your animals can end up in a world of hurt. The next is cats. Again, this kind of falls hand in hand with dogs. Most households in America have a cat. It's just what it is. Our cats are indoor-outdoor cats because Ollie, so we have Ninja and Ollie, and they are rescues. Ollie had this really bad habit when we were living in a rental, and he had this really bad habit that he would not poop in the litter box or pee in the litter box. What he would do is he would scoop out cat litter out of the box and then bring it into a pile and then shit in the pile. And so Jared had enough of it and said, cat's got to go outside. And you know what? I can't blame him at all. And Ollie had a really bad habit of pooping and peeing in the house beyond the litter box. And so we were like, all right, fine, put the cats outside. And they have done amazing. We've not had a problem with that with them. Now, we did have an instance where Jared accidentally ran over Ninja. So keep that in mind when you put your cats outside, that they will get behind your car. Ninja, he had a really bad habit of that. He would, you'd be backing up because we always park ass in, right? So we can just get in the car and go when we leave. And so Jared was backing up the driveway, and Ninja again had this really bad habit of, just jumping behind you. And Jared ran him over. Well, hit him. And Jared didn't think anything about it, didn't know that he had hit him. He went about his business. And the next day I came home and I was like, hey, Ninja's limping. Like he's got this kind of like burn mark on his hip and he's not acting right. And Jared's like, I don't know. And, because again, he didn't know that he had hit the cat. So we started talking, ended up taking the cat to the vet. And turns out that his hip was dislocated. And Jared's like, oh my God, I think I hit him. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he told me what happened. I was like, that fucking cat. Because we knew that it was going to happen one day. You cannot be a black cat and then dart behind a vehicle and expect not to get hit. Like, that's just not how, and he still does it, though it's not as bad. He ended up having his femoral head removed and they created a pocket. So, he limps in the winter, but you would never know it, that he had been hit by a car and had to have this major surgery, $1,800 later. But he is a fantastic farm cat. Love him to pieces. He is not a barn cat. He does come inside. He snuggles when it's cold or when it's really, really hot. We try to bring, it's extreme temperatures. We try to bring them inside. We feed them inside because we don't want to feed the wildlife. We had a possum on the deck, scared the crap out of Jackson. It was so funny. And I was like, well, I guess we're going back to feeding them in the house. So cats are great for rodent control. If you have animals, if you have livestock, if you have chickens, ducks, pigs, goats, whatever, if you have that, you have rats, you just don't see them. Whether it's rats or mice, you've got them. You just don't see them. And so that's part of the reason why we let our cats in and out is because, we've got grain in the basement. And it's very likely that we've got mice, rats in the basement, although we don't see them. And so we let the cats in and out of the house, and they go in and out of the basement because our basement's a garage basement combo. And so we let, put the cats in the garage and, let them roam the property, and we don't have issues because the cats handle it. Well, Ninja handles it. Ollie, he's a waste of space and cat food. Like, I hate saying it. He's a sweet cat, and that's why he stays around. But he does not earn his keep like Ninja does. Now, when it comes to farm cats, there is some controversy about, how to keep a barn cat. You have some that say you do not feed the barn cat because, you want them to hunt. You want to encourage hunting behavior. And then you have some that say, no. Like, mine does it all the time. He gets a full bowl every day. So I feed my cats, but my cats also come inside. So, take it for what you will, do what you got to do. The next one is probably the most controversial one that I will hear or I will talk about, and that is snakes. Now, I have a pet snake, and his name is Richard Knuckles Cranium because he has a set of brass knuckles and a penis on the back of his head. Because of his color pattern, that's what he's got. So anyways, Knuckles is an indoor snake. He hangs out in his cage unless somebody forgets to latch it, in which case he is hanging out somewhere in the house. If that bothers you, don't come to my house. But he usually is in his cage, and he does great. But that's not the snake that we're talking about. We're talking about king snakes, rat snakes, whatever is, a non-venomous snake native to your area. We like them. We want to keep them. And I tell new homesteaders all the time, get in contact with your local extermination company and let them know that you will gladly take a king snake or a rat snake or whatever. Because here in the South, we have a lot of snakes, and we have snakes that will kill you quickly. And if you don't live close to a hospital that has antivenom, you will have a bad day. And so what I tell people and what we have done, now we have snakes on our property, so we don't have to do this. But one of the things that you can do is talk to an exterminator and say, hey man, listen, if you ever get a black snake or a king snake, again, whatever is native to your area, and you need a place to put them, please bring them to my property. And they'll look at you sideways, but they'll understand because they don't want to kill these snakes either. These are great snakes. They do really good things. Now, in Georgia, we have rattlers, we have cottonmouths, we have, the gamut of the things that the slithery things that try to kill you. We want non-venomous snakes on the property that will eat those snakes. Okay, they will keep those snakes at bay. They will also help keep your rodent population down. So if you're allergic to cats and you can't have a cat, get a snake. Get one of these snakes that is native to your area, because what will happen is that snake will take care of your rodent problem with a quickness. We have Frank. He hangs out in our hay barn. And there are times where we forget that he exists and he comes slithering out and scares the shit out of me. I love snakes. I don't have a problem with snakes. I'll hold just about any snake there is on the planet as long as it doesn't scare the crap out of me first. Because usually we had one come up on the deck. It had been raining for like 2-3 weeks straight. So everything was flooded. And we had a snake up on the deck, and I opened up the door and went, oh, okay. Hi, buddy. And I picked him up. Y'all, I said the wrong damn word. I said, hey, buddy. And Blue just lost her shit. So yes, I know, I hear you. So does everybody else. This is the joys of trying to record a podcast on a farm. So, get a snake. That's the takeaway of this. Get a snake, an outdoor snake, one that is native to your area. It is not a pet. You do not have to feed it. It will figure it out. Realize that once you get that snake onto your property, it will scare the shit out of you. Okay. Just understand that. Moving on now. And this is, okay. This flies in the face of getting a snake. Okay. I understand that. Ducks and chickens. Okay. Snakes will eat baby chickens, and they will eat eggs, and they will get into your chicken coop, and they can cause a problem. So we don't want too many snakes on our property. But I will tell you this, I know that we have 3 different snakes on our property, and not once have any of them gotten into our chicken coop. And my chicken coop is not Fort Knox. It is not secure. Okay. Because we have enough land and because we have enough, roamable area, they're not going after my chickens. They're not going after chicken eggs. Although that could be where all my chicken eggs went. Because we free range our chickens. I know, realistically, that our chickens are laying somewhere else. And it's also, almost December, and y'all are listening to this probably in January. So the reality is we're not getting eggs anyways, because you don't get chicken eggs in the winter. But they can get into your chicken coop. They can eat stuff, and you could have that problem. However, I would rather lose a couple chicken eggs than have rodents eating my hay or grain and causing those types of issues. So for me, it's not really a big deal. Also, we have cats, and because we have cats, the cats stay closer to the house, and because of that, the snakes do not come up to the house. So I think that's part of the reason why we've not had a big issue. Rabbits. Okay, so I have. I hope I don't get in trouble for this one. My partner's wife wants rabbits because of rabbit manure, which is a great idea. Okay, I'm not. I have not talked to her to figure out why else she wants rabbits. If you want them as a pet, okay. But like, if you're talking about homesteading to the point where you're going to get rabbits, that tells me meat. It tells me that the fertilizer is a byproduct of the meat. Okay. If you're not going to eat it, if you're not going to eat the rabbit, why are you getting the animal? And again, it's none of my business what y'all do. Remember, I am just here to be a sounding board, to give you advice, to kind of be that. Of course, if I'm the voice of reason, we have a huge problem, because I'm going to tell you to get the rabbits if you want rabbits. But again, this goes back to, what is a successful homestead? What is that end game for that animal? Is it to eat it? Is it to enjoy it? Bear doesn't have a purpose. Bear does not bark until somebody wakes him up, and then he starts barking. So again, what is the purpose of that animal? If it is solely to give you rabbit shit, great. But understand that if you get a male and a female, you are going to have a ton of babies, and you're going to need to make some decisions. So it's none of my business why she wants rabbits. But my question then becomes, what else are you going to do with those rabbits? Because rabbit pelts is actually a pretty hot commodity here in the South. And because rabbits carry the bubonic plague. And so if you have that issue, maybe we need to reconsider. But be aware, right? What are you using these animals for? And that goes with the chickens and the ducks. You know, if you don't eat eggs, why do you have chickens? Why do you have ducks? Is it because you like them? Okay, cool. Is it because you're going to eat them? Okay, cool. Why do you have these animals? What is the purpose? If you're going to have a rescue, that's the purpose of your farm, right? Is you're rescuing these animals. But if you are like the vast majority of homesteaders, why do we have these animals? What purpose do they serve? Are they serving that purpose? If they're not doing those things, we need to make some other decisions. Prime example is Oakley and Bailey. Okay, they are the nannies that I have for sale right now. They do not serve their purpose fully because they don't produce a lot of milk. Because they don't produce a lot of milk, well, I don't need to keep them, right? But they do produce babies. Okay. Do you produce enough babies to make you worth it to stay? And so that's kind of a situation that Jared and I are dealing with right now is, okay, you know, do we really want to sell them? Not really, but do we want to feed them through the winter knowing that they're not really going to produce enough milk for us? You know, and so understanding what your goals are. Our goals are that our ducks and chickens produce eggs. Our goats produce milk and babies to sell or put in the freezer. If they are not doing their part, what are we doing with this animal? So that brings us to the pigs. I still have yet to post the pig saga because I'm sitting on it until I feel like it's right to post because it is brutal and it is... Now, I will say this. Pigs are one of my favorite homestead animals. My goats are my favorite. That is my favorite animal on the homestead, but pigs are up there. I really like the pigs. I enjoyed them while they were here until they started becoming an issue. I enjoyed them even after we had the incident with Bacon and Junebug where he ate her and cost me $200 because I had to go put her down. I really do enjoy the pigs. They have this amazing ability to turn soil. And that's super fantastic. You know, that reduces the need for tilling, which we don't do. But if they stay in their pen and they root like they're supposed to, they can completely turn around soil from being so compacted that weeds won't even grow to, you know, beautiful, light, fluffy soil that anything can grow in. And so personally, I would rather have pigs over chickens, but the pigs are a huge hassle and butchering them is god awful. And so like, it's just not worth it. Even if they are my favorite, I won't have pigs on the homestead again. Willingly, Jared may come home with 2 pigs and be like, look what I brought home. And I'll be like, oh, fuck, you know, but I'll be happy because I do like the pigs. Goats and sheep. I have talked about how much I love my goats. We will be, once we have grass established. Right now, our entire 8 acres is pretty much all weeds or dirt. And so once we get grass established, we will be bringing sheep onto the homestead because I do like lamb. I've never had goat. That is something that's going to be fixed here soon. We're going to put BB in the freezer. And when that happens, I'll let you know if I like goat. But I do like lamb. I had lamb steaks the other day, and those were actually really good. So we will be getting sheep. We'll probably get a fiber ewe and a meat ram so that we can, you know, put the ram in with the boys. So, you know, he's got a buddy, but then we can shear the ewes and make fiber. And so that would be pretty cool. I don't know exactly that's what we're going to do, but that would be kind of cool to do. I also really love those baby doll sheep because they're so cute. And that is, again, where you have to really sit there and, you know, start, is this something that I really need? No. But my goats are my therapy, you know, and goat milk is one of the only milks that I can tolerate. So, okay. So really looking into your animals and, you know, do you have fencing for goats? Because goats really do need a waterproof fence. Now, we've been very blessed that our goats don't want to leave their fence. But if they did, they could very easily bust out. But they know they've got it good, so they stick around. My goats are not prone to escaping. Sheep, I don't know anything about sheep. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've heard that they're easier to care for than goats because they don't get as wormy. They don't have a lot of these, issues that goats have. But I don't know. I don't know enough about goats or about sheep. Then finally cows. I want to milk cows so badly, but remember me telling you that I don't have grass? Yeah, that would be a mistake. So those are the top ones that, I think new homesteaders are looking at. The chickens are your gateway animal. You get 10 chickens and next thing you know, you got 100, and then you got goats, and then you got pigs, and then you're going to get a cow, and then. But at the end of the day, you got to look at your goals. You got to look at, again, what is a successful homestead? And if at the end, like right now, we don't have grass, so we would have to hay that cow forever before grass started to grow and we started getting that fixed. We don't have fencing for a cow. We don't have shelter for a cow. We don't have any of that. So doing that is really not where we're at right now in our journey. And that's okay because we realize that that's where we're at. We know that that is not a feasible solution for us, and that's okay. But before you go to the shelter and you pick up, a Great Pyrenees, understand that Great Pyrenees is at the shelter because it got loose and the owner said not worth it to go back and get it. Just so that you know. That's how we got Pearl and Cody. Pearl is at my mom's house and Cody is currently laying on his back, just sleeping. Understanding that farm dogs can be any dog, with the right, I truly believe any dog with the right training can be a farm dog. Just take some training. And then, cats, put a cat outside, they'll come back home eventually, or they won't. Like, I hate saying it, but as long as that cat's fixed, they'll come home. Ollie got bit by something big. We think it was a coyote. They're resilient creatures. They will come home. He sat there with a broken skull. It took weeks and weeks and weeks to heal the infection and for his skull to stop crunching whenever we were trying to help drain out his wounds and clean them. It took weeks for his skull to finally heal enough, and he's still alive and kicking. That cat's never going to die. Cats are very resilient. They do not, it's the same thing with dogs. People are like, oh, he needs a coat. No, he doesn't need a coat. No, he doesn't. I promise you, he doesn't need a coat. Right now, Bear needs a coat because he is old and he shivers inside. His spot is by the fireplace. But he's old. Snakes, I know it's controversial. Just trust me. Trust me. Get yourself some snakes, especially if you live in the South. If you live anywhere south of the Mason-Dixon, you have a lot of snakes. You may not see them, but the water moccasin, the cottonmouth, the rattlesnake, those are just the top 3 that are venomous here. I think there's a couple more. And you don't want to find out the hard way that you should have, local snakes on your property. Chickens and ducks. Ducks are gross. Chickens are annoying. I love my ducks. The chickens can go. Like, I don't ever have to have chickens again. I love my ducks. Rabbits, I won't do rabbits. I don't see the need for it. If I wanted that little of meat, I'd butcher one of my goats. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Although they do, repopulate very quickly. And that's something that you've got to be very aware of because you can be overrun with baby rabbits very fast and not know how it happened. And you get screwed. Pigs, if you're not set up for pigs, I would be very careful of pigs. What I know now, I won't get pigs again. You can try it though. I'm not going to hold you back. I'm just going to let you know that it's a process, and I don't recommend it for new homesteaders. Goats and sheep. I don't know anything about sheep. Goats are amazing. Get goats. And then cows. Cows are great. If you only have one cow and and you've got a neighbor that's got cows, and that's what we have here, she will bust out of your fence to go get to those other cows. Mark my words. So make sure she's got a buddy, which means you got to have 2 cows. And that's, whew, good luck with that. So that's my list of homestead or animals for new homesteaders. Understand that you will you'll reach your limit and then try to figure out how to pull back on it a little bit because you realize that now you have too many animals. That's okay. The slow process of building your herds is a great idea. It never happens. You get excited because you got animals and you can have more animals and you can have more animals. And then you're like, oh, should I have too many animals? And that's usually what ends up happening. And that's cool. So I'm going to close this before the dogs start barking again. I'm actually kind of surprised they gave me, 30 plus minutes of silence. So we're going to end it there. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just hit me up. You can leave a message down in the show notes, or you can, or in the comment section. You can shoot me a message at Leigh@stillravenfarms.com, and I will talk to you guys later.